Order. This is the first meeting. It's technically the second because we had the joint meeting. But anyway, first of our meetings for this session. I ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Representative Ballman.
Present.
Representative Blanton. Representative Bowling.
Here.
Representative Bridges. Representative Burke.
Present.
Representative Chester Burton. Representative Dossett.
Present.
Representative Dotson.
Here.
Representative Flannery.
Here.
Representative Fugate. Representative Gentry.
Here.
Representative Grossberg. Representative Johnson.
Here.
Representative McCool.
Here.
Representative Miles.
Here.
Representative Smith.
Here.
Representative Williams.
Here.
Representative Wesley.
Here.
Representative White. And Chair Gooch.
Here. We do have a quorum. Couple of housekeeping, I guess. We do plan to have a 24-hour rule in the committee. Now, when I say 24 hours, that really just means the day before, because we meet at 9, so you're probably not necessarily going to get substitutes or amendments, by 9 o'clock in the morning, but certainly by the end of business days, we'll consider that the 24-hour rule will be the day before. We may try to send out a list of rules, but that's pretty much the big one. And now it may be an occasion if the committee votes, we might hear something, but it would be upon approval of the entire committee. So with that, we did have a meeting earlier this month. We did introduce our new members, but we want to welcome those members again, but they have already been introduced. So anything else? We don't have minutes or anything. So we have two bills that we're going to take up today, House Bill 160 and then House Bill 222. I would like to turn this meeting over to my co-chairman and let him chair while I go to the table to present House Bill 222.
Good morning, sir. My name is Representative Wesley, in case anyone doesn't know me, and it's good to be here this morning. We just want to welcome all of our guests and everyone that's out there this morning. If I can ask our co-sponsor and our guests to go ahead and state your title and name, please, for the record.
Okay, thank you. I'm Representative Jim Gooch from District 12, and I'll let my guests introduce themselves.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, my name is Tony Hatton. I'm Commissioner of the
You might want to
Department
turn
for
your mic on, sir.
Yeah, I see the sign there, and I didn't follow directions very well. My apologies, Mr. Chairman. My name's Tony Hatton. I'm Commissioner of the Department for Environmental Protection.
Before us, we have House Bill 222. 222 is very simple. It is just extending the existing annual hazardous waste assessment fee and that fund with no increases or expansion. This is collected from generators of hazardous waste. And
Motion on the bill.
Okay, all right. Tony, you want to say anything, or we just?
Well, Representative Gooch, I do appreciate you being willing to sponsor this bill and reauthorize this fee. Not to take too much time, but this is it's $1.8 million, and we use this to do a lot of good. It supports our emergency response team, and we're able to address Superfund sites for which there's not a viable, responsible party. So if we find a site that has a problem, we have the ability to respond to it, to protect the public. So we really appreciate it, sir.
Well, I think we all just have seen recent events where you had the train derailment and fire in Ohio, and we see that these types of cleanup funds are very important. The last time this was renewed was in 2015. I was the sponsor. It was House Bill 417. So this is going to reauthorize it for another how many years?
8 years.
8 years. Okay,
sir.
great. So
Is there any more questions on the bill? All right, if we can ask our clerk, call the roll, please.
Representative Ballman. Representative Blanton. Representative Bowling.
yes.
Representative Bridges,
First, I'd like to record my attendance, and my vote will be yes.
Representative Burke,
Aye.
Representative Chester Burton,
I'd like to report my opinion as well, my answer yes.
Representative Dossett,
Yes.
Representative Dotson,
Yes.
Representative Flannery,
Yes.
Representative Fugate,
Yes.
Representative Gentry,
Yes.
Representative Grossberg, Representative Johnson,
Yes.
Representative McCool,
Yes.
Representative Miles,
Yes.
Representative Smith, Representative Wesley,
Yes.
Representative White,
Yes.
Representative Williams,
Aye.
and Chair Gooch.
Yes.
All right, this bill reported favorably. Looking forward to hearing it on the floor.
Thank you,
sir.
Mr. Chairman. Great job.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, members of the committee. Okay, now we'll move to House Bill 160. Representative Chris Friedland, please introduce yourself and your guest.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chris Freeland, State Representative, District 6, and my guest is Stephen Robertson, the General Principal for Frost Brown Todd. So thank you for being here, and let me proceed.
Yes.
Okay. This is House Bill 160, and this is clarifying language from a bill that we passed in this body in 2021. It's relating to industrial wastewater permitting, and this bill is a collaboration between the Environmental Cabinet and industry, and you like to see when that happens, when they can work together and get good things done. And a lot of work has gone involved into making this happen, and I'll invite Steve if he'd like to say a few words about this. He can do so, and Mr. Tony Hatton from the Environmental Cabinet is here as well to answer any questions.
Motion on the bill.
Second.
Okay. What, do you want your question? Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Friedland, I have a question regarding Section 1 of the bill. Am I correct that where the bill states on lines 8 through 10, to any mixing zone for a bioaccumulative chemical of concern assigned by the Cabinet on or before September 8th, 2004 shall be in effect from that date until explicitly changed or extinguished by the Cabinet after March 24th, 2021, is referring to mixing zones that are currently in effect, and that the language does not resurrect past mixing zones that were once in effect assigned prior to 2004 but are no longer in effect. My concern is that the language would not open the door to recreating or reviving mixing zones that were eliminated during the 3 or 4 rounds of permitting decisions since 2004, but instead that this is limiting language on how the Cabinet deals with such pre-2004 mixing zones for bioaccumulative toxins that might still be in effect. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. It does have to do with the triennial report from 2004, but Steve, can you answer that a little more?
Thank you.
Satisfaction.
Thank you, Representative. So I don't want to speak, obviously this bill was passed 2 years ago. I don't want to speak as to whether or not any of the pre-2004 mixing zones were revived. I know the Cabinet has personnel in the room and they could probably speak to whether that's occurred. I do know that the original language of House Bill 386 from 2021 was intentional in the fact that it did mirror the verbatim wording of Kentucky administrative regulations at the Cabinet about these mixing zones, and certainly it would have stated as it was written that those mixing zones would have been back in effect. The problem with that original bill was that the only tool available to the Cabinet would have been through issuing additional administrative regulations in order to extinguish those mixing zones. This bill actually gives the Cabinet a workable tool through their existing permitting process to address that. And in fact, if there is a KPDS holder who wants to utilize one of those pre-2004 mixing zones under this bill, they would have to identify that in a permit renewal or in a permit modification request to the Cabinet, who would then have their normal permitting process available to them to decide if that was appropriate or not.
Okay. Thank you so much for your response.
You're welcome.
Okay. We do have one person who's signed up to speak, someone who's not new to the committee, Tom Fitzgerald. Tom, you want to come forward? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, I did not expect to be back here, but it is a privilege to be here. Tom Fitzgerald, I used to be director of the Kentucky Resources Council for about 37 years. I would like to introduce Ashley Wilms, who is the director of the Kentucky Resources Council, and I know that you will be as courteous and as attentive to her as you have been to me these past 44 years now. So, but it is a privilege to be back here. Representative Burke, I appreciate the question that you asked. When this bill was initially adopted a couple of years back, Mr. Chairman, you remember that Representative Duplessis and I kind of geeked out talking about some wastewater issues because that's what he did for a living. The concern I had was that it required the cabinet to undertake actions that might have jeopardized our continued primacy in wastewater permitting under the NPDES program. This bill fixes those problems, and I appreciate the chairman. I appreciate the sponsor, and I appreciate working with Steve to address the issues that Westlake has, but to do so in a way that does not put us in jeopardy of continued primacy over that program. The one question that I did have was the question that Representative Burke alluded to, and that is that there were mixing zones that were granted back before 2004 that would have allowed dilution of bioaccumulative chemicals. And of course, dilution of something that is bioaccumulative is not an appropriate strategy, and the cabinet recognized that back in 2004. Steve, I think, is right. There haven't been in the last 2 years that language was in effect. I don't think anyone has tried to revive one of those old mixing zones that have expired. If they did, I think that would run afoul of the anti-backsliding requirement that since we're trying to work towards pollution elimination, you don't get to go backwards from where you've been. So I think that the language does provide those protections now, and I encourage your support, and I appreciate very much this opportunity. Happy to answer any questions that you all have.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Representative Bridges, you have a question?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wondering, has the cabinet expressed an opinion on this, or have you got anyone that could speak to that?
Yes, the commissioner is here today, Tony Hatton, and thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Yes, during the course of the last several months, we have met with interested parties, Westlake and others, who potentially were affected by the initial bill. We believe that this further enhances and clarifies exactly who would be eligible for rapid and complete mixing. We were involved in this process of this bill drafting. We appreciate the opportunity to do so, and we don't have any concerns with this language whatsoever.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any further questions? Okay, there is a motion and a second on the bill. Ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Representative Ballman? Yes. Representative Blanton? Representative Bowling? Yes. Representative Bridges?
Yes.
Representative Burke?
Aye.
Representative Chester Burton?
Yes.
Representative Dossett?
Yes.
Representative Dotson?
Yes.
Representative Flannery?
Yes.
Representative Fugate?
Yes.
Representative Gentry?
Yes.
Representative Grossberg? Representative Johnson?
Yes.
Representative McCool?
Yes.
Representative Miles?
Yes.
Representative Smith? Representative Wesley?
Yes.
Representative White? Representative Williams?
Yes.
And Chair Gooch.
Yes. Bill does pass with favorable expression. That same should pass. And I just want to mention that we probably will meet again next week. Our regular time spot is 8 to 10, but I have another committee meeting that meets at 8, so we will normally try to meet at 9 if we can get all of our business in. If there may be an occasion where we have to meet a little earlier, but I appreciate everyone being there. So we're open for motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chairman, Can I
Meeting's
ask that
adjourned.
the
Thanks.
consent calendar be brought back?
Yeah, right.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Congratulations. Just don't get greedy.
Chairman, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Hey, thank you.